everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be talking about the part 2 of the first video I made. This is alternate future of the post-apocalyptic world. And so there was a lot of things in the first episode. If you haven't watched it, then this is completely no context for you, and spoiler alert, you won't understand any of this, and later on you will be saying, why did I watch this now? So please go watch the first part and then we'll watch this. Then you come back to watch this. So please subscribe and like, share, hit the notification bell and a like, because this helps us to create other things like this. And so we are going to be today talking about the alternate future of the post-apocalyptic world, right? And so there's a couple of rules here, but another thing I want to tell is that today's video has a lot of fiction in it. It has a story in it, and so you will have to understand it before. Otherwise, you won't understand anything. But it is pretty simple. It's a pretty simple story, and so let's get into the video. So, last time we left off with the West African Union forming, Egypt and Sudan getting chasing the rivers, South Persian Civil War, and India trying to take Tibet. Yeah, so now that's all of the recap. Now let's get into the new video. Again, I'm saying there's a story. That's one thing alert. Now, actually, let's get into the video. Okay, so first things first. We have some things happening in the Wire 1, which is Australia and New Zealand. They were the ones to discover the Wire, and so they are starting to take more islands around, and then Australia realizes that that they can just cover the coast, and then they can take the middle for themselves. New Zealand also tries to take some of the north, and so yeah, you can't blame them, because their second most largest city, Auckland, is in the Northern Ireland. Australia starts exploring Tasmania, but as you all know, Australia is very scary, and so they immediately come out with an apparent brown person coming out there. What is brown people? No. Okay, whatever. They just reclaim the land. We don't know what happened in that scenario. There was a bunch of brown men, or yellow type men. I don't know what they were. And so as they start coming over here, they start conquering the coast, and they see that Perth has actually taken their independence and has become West Australia. Australia then cuts out of our vision. West cannot see what's happening, but Wire 1 is increased. Back onto Indonesia. What is that country's name again? East Timor, Timor-Leste, has conquered the entirety of their island, because in case you don't know, it's split in half, while Java is taken over by Indonesia. Java is the island where Jakarta is located, in case you didn't know. As Papua New Guinea tries to conquer things, they basically split into 5 million different tribes, because Papua New Guinea is very diverse. And so they just become a bunch of tribes after the apocalyptic thing. A lot of the tribes in the west area also split. And this creates a really weird world where Papua New Guinea is split into like 1,000 million tribes. Next, we look at Madagascar. Madagascar apparently sees a bunch of coastal waves happening around them. That won't tie into the story later, totally, right? So next, Lesotho starts conquering South Africa. They get sea access, and finally they don't need to be a part of South Africa. By the way, disclaimer alert, a lot of you guys might have been talking in the first episode, a lot of you guys might have been thinking, wait, South Africa has 3 capitals, what are you going to do? Well, we have given them the capital on this map, which is Pretoria, and it's also the least controversial capital, and so they are in Pretoria. That's the only other thing I wanted to tell. Next, Pretoria / South Africa starts going around, and eventually they have created a new wire. This is wire. Actually, I don't know. The wire 3, I think. Yes, wire 3. While this happens, Yemen starts taking a part of this area, and Saudi Arabia starts trying to take this area. I forgot the name. I used to know that name. Whatever. As we do this, the people at WAU or WAU, the Western African Union, are doing some really weird things in their labs. They're apparently trying to create an artificial trinuke. I have heard rumors of that from America. As America tries to do things, America actually gets control of WAU, and they can now talk to each other. So, next of all, South Africa tries taking the capital of Sudan tries to take the capital of South Africa. Why am I saying that? South Sudan. Why am I saying that every time? But essentially, their capital, I know their capital. Trust me, I know their capital. I know more geography than you. Trust me. And then they tried going there, but they get destroyed by Sudan, so that's it. A Cold War happens as Saudi Arabia has some rebels in there. It's about time we change the year. By the way, last time we left off around 2034 or 5. Now we are around 2041. That's not the exact area, but I think around here will be the time. So we have had a long break, a long peace. After almost 2 years of development, WAU has already finished their project. Almost finished it. As the last scientist pours the chemical into their flask, a big explosion happens that no one knows what's happening inside of the neighboring countries. I just don't know what that explosion did. I don't know what happened in there. America tries contacting WAU because yes, they know about the chemical thing, and the only thing they could say is a bunch of yellow men are coming out. The neighboring countries said that, by the way. The neighboring countries didn't know that, but eventually they discovered they were infected with a weird disease. They're almost like zombies, if you can imagine it. As I said, it is fiction, so this won't actually happen in real life. That's why the term alternate is used. A bunch of waves come across in here, and a chunk of Brazil is flooded in the ocean. I wonder what that is. The Central African Republic is getting harassed by the zombies. They are destroying them, as well as these countries. By the way, these are not real zombies. I just wanted to say that in this fictional universe, they're not even real zombies. They are technically people infected with a Triyet disease. I wonder how they got that. And they were talking. And as a wave goes to Brazil, their coast is lost. Maybe this is a tri-wave. All of this is making sense. But again, what is this universe? Tri-nukes? Did they mess around with tri-nukes? I wonder. That's what exactly the US said. And so they set a big expedition to, guess who? The apocalyptic land. I forgot to write that. So this area is now being explored by a lot of Americans. And so eventually they find a scroll in the ground. It says, okay, I cannot write it here, but just imagine. It says that we have created the time machines for the best of man. Okay, we don't know what that means, but time machine? Is this for the future? US starts thinking, what could this mean? They don't know. As this keeps happening, the US tries to think, maybe they can mess around with tri-nukes. But to get a tri-nuke, they need to try to get it from these members. The US eventually tries to make a tri-nuke with a lot of other great countries around here, and they eventually succeed at making a tri-nuke. Using this tri-nuke, they try to figure out what's happening. They finally, after years of research, it's almost 2045 now. Yes, very long time. But they eventually figure out, maybe this is making sense after all. Basically, gold and silver were mixed to create a new material, which they call Triyet, and that caused the explosion there. But in the US, something terrible went. Thank God it's not an explosion, but they created the liquid form of Triyet instead of the solid form. No substance like this exists, but there's a bunch of waves coming off which can destroy any land in their path. That's what Brazil got destroyed off of. And the brown men in Australia, they were infected by these waves and these gases. It all makes sense now. As these waves go across the Atlantic, a bunch of the waves go down. They eventually come to the current and hit Madagascar. Madagascar, trying their best, actually get destroyed. All of the land that's destroyed by ocean will signify by this color or these stripes. So Brazil didn't get that big of a thing because apparently there might be zombies that were sending them artificially, but Madagascar really got hit by the original wave. And when you mix Triyet, even a little Triyet, make even a little liquid Triyet, a lot of explosions happen. Meanwhile, this happens, Madagascar creates some really big waves. It almost hits Indonesia and then eventually just goes into Taiwan. Taiwan creates an energy barrier to try to harness it for technology, like all Taiwanese would do. And eventually they succeed, but a big fog came out. And as well as this, a bunch of spikes are coming out of Africa, creating more smoke, and eventually are trying to hide it. Wonder what that could happen. That's it for the fictional scenario though. Now let's get into some real conflicts. By the way, next episode we are going to talk more about this, and Taiwan especially. They look a little bit weird. So let's go into Russia. They try fighting and they succeed. They get a bunch of Ukraine and other Baltic countries and harass Eastern Europe, just the normal day-to-day Russian routine. And then a weird scroll piece comes up, and it says every single country on earth. We have gotten into the time machine, and our time machine is malfunctioning. What? The Russians figure out that this scroll is alongside America, but the Russians won't give it away. The only way America gets it back. By the way, America now knows this. Russia said that we have the other part of the scroll, but we aren't giving it to you. So give us the other lands and say that it's officially ours. Yeah, otherwise we won't give it to you. This is still Putin, by the way. This is still Putin, and that's the only thing I'm saying. And so, eventually, the US thinks the only way to do this is by liberation. We're gonna have to watch that next episode, but whatever. Until here, they find another scroll fragments. Where are they finding so many? But this seems to be made with another type of paper. This is apparently from Taiwanese. It has a bunch of Triyet fragments attached to it, and they say that you're not about to witness what you are seeing. So they are doing something weird in there. I wonder what they do. Until then, capital of Kazakhstan is absorbed by Russia. As this happens, Mongolia tries going into China and reclaiming China. But again, second times don't always work. China has created a big wall already and starts invading Mongolia. Eventually, they come to a stalemate across the wall. This is like the Great Korean DMZ. South Persia starts conquering a lot of countries. They even go into the coast of many other countries. They conquer one, and until they get 10 capitals, they aren't stopping. They currently only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They only have 6 capitals, but they are still fighting, and they eventually get what they came for. They get all the countries' capitals and everything, and now they're starting to have a triennial. South Persia tries to figure out if they can actually get like another Triyet technology, and they try really hard to not do it the way that America tried to do it. So they host it on a safe container using antimatter, and they eventually succeed. They create the first ever product made by what we call tri products, right? Tri energy. So they actually create a really expensive missile suit which can actually be worn by humans, which is super weird. This is out of the world technology. Again, this is a lot of fiction. This episode is mostly meant for setting up the story. So yes. Meanwhile, in Australia, a bunch of Western Australians rise up and show that they have friends. Eventually, New Zealand cuts out. Apparently, New Zealand was attacked with a wave of some sort. Remember, Australia still doesn't know that Triyet exists. It takes a long way for news to get from here and here to here. South Persia already got it, meaning that it's around here. Bangladesh also knows about it, but Australia, it's like in the other side of the globe, polar opposites. They didn't get it. As for Australia, they have a big civil war going on. I always like civil wars to be in big countries because then it's more dramatic. And guess what? Then the wire blanks out for everyone. No one can hear them again. Apparently, wait, why am I drawing this again? Apparently, there are a lot of rebels in there, and us don't even know what they do and what they possibly could be. Okay, maybe you do know by the icons, but I don't care. Listen, I don't care. Maybe you do. Maybe you do. Wait, I am still... Okay, wait for me to draw for a second. Yes, that's done. So, we'll leave that for next episode. And so, goodbye. Make sure to like this video, and there's going to be a lot of stuff just to recap what we did and what we will do next episode. We'll talk about the Australian Civil War, Taiwan, a lot of other story bits, and we'll talk how Europe is being so still in this except for Russia. And we'll talk about how weird radiation is appearing in the world. So, make sure to put any comments down below because, well, you have a lot of questions. I know you are also a curious mind. And also make sure to subscribe and also hit the notification bell. I don't hear many people actually clicking that little bell, but please subscribe for more content like this. Like seriously, it took a while to make this. Do you know how much time it took to draw those capitals? Do you seriously know? Try it for yourself then. Okay, so goodbye. Now I'll see you next time.